Welcome back everyone to the Theta Communications video series. Today we're going to be diving into some exciting updates from the Theta Labs team, as well as some major macro AI news and some unfolding crypto news as we speak currently. Before we proceed, let us thank our Theta stakers as well as our Tfuel stakers over on ThetaCommunications.com. You make this content possible, as well as make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below to boost Theta-related content in the YouTube algorithm. All right, let's head on over to X here. We have an exciting update from the Theta Labs team, diving into how Syracuse University is adopting AWS Cloud Trainium on the Theta EdgeCloud hybrid to power their generative AI research. So this is the perfect match made in heaven, where you have the public university system meets the private system, and now you have the Theta EdgeCloud hybrid becoming the true auto router in the middle to help handle some of these extensive costs that have come about from the AI space. We've seen a lot of soak up in GPU capacity, data center resources, and this has left many of the public universities out in the cold. So it's great to see a great tweet thread and test case for what the Theta Labs team is providing to these labs across the country and across the globe as a whole. So really excited. This is what we are really here for, is making sure that those that are going to be progressing the future forward have access to good AI tooling. And then in doing so, we'll also be able to extend this and have all of these young youth cut their teeth on the Theta EdgeCloud. Very exciting for this as we enter into the new era going forward here, especially as we look towards cheaper and cheaper costs in the AI space. And hopefully we will get that sooner rather than later, especially considering that there is much trembling occurring in the space regarding what the valuation is and the spend that has happened within some of these companies. Some of these valuations that we've seen are completely overblown, considering that when you have LLMs who can then study off of other LLMs, software as a service becomes hyper deflationary. And they're really realizing this now. We've all known this within the Theta space. But now with DeepSeek V4 coming out, the question is, how much deflationary effect is that going to cause on many of these companies? They have spent billions upon billions to trillions of dollars in this space. And then in the previous scenario, we had DeepSeek V3, who was able to copy a lot of the work that they were doing for under $6 million. So the question is, once that money is spent, who actually gets that return back? How do the investors feel about that? Are the valuations actually way out of whack, in consideration that anytime you make an innovation, you are actually being punished? We've done many videos on this in the past about how innovators get punished in the data and the computational side of things, especially with LLMs. So this really brings about a crazy point in the hyper deflationary elements of the AI space. So we also have a big piece that's going on within the crypto space that I really wanted to hit on, talking about Jane Street and varying other funds who have been playing games within the space. You know, we know about Jane Street. We know Wintermute plays around a little bit out here. We have GSR, varying other market makers that are engaging within the space and creating varying outcomes. And obviously they are going to do so to make money and are competitive within the space. But we do have some serious questions, and there are some allegations online regarding why certain things are lining up the way that they are. And just so people understand, with Theta and Tfuel specifically, understanding that everyone is demanding that we there's some kind of revenue numbers to some of these assets. The problem is, by fixing a revenue number to a young and budding asset like this, you have now capped the growth gains to that number. So as we proceed forward here, just realize this space has been in a very tough spot. We have many different things that are pushing against those that are operating in the good manner. I will say the Michael Saylors of the world, who are basically operating in a way of we continually to accumulate. And then you have the other side of the table, who is trying to counter that. And also, in some cases, with these allegations, utilizing information that the public did not have in terms of the Terra Luna scenario. It looks like Jane Street possibly had some info pre the DPEG, and then was able to act upon that to extract value, and then was able to take those proceeds and maneuver them through in their book. So we really have some interesting things going on here in the space. And I think that's what makes price such a bad indicator of where we are with technology, especially with Theta. We have seen nothing but growth and more collaborations. I don't know of a team who has been able to just continually plow through universities and continually add new updates, as well as adding varying large organizations like CAA, Google, and big names every year. That is an impressive feat in itself, especially with the sports teams too. You can't just get a meeting and just dive right in. To have this actually be front stage and center is an impressive feat. So all of the underlying metrics that we have seen have been growing in a positive direction. Now, price is a whole other factor, but what I would like to ask to many of you is, most of the time, the opportunity is found when people are very dissuaded from things, when people are upset. And of course, this is not financial advice, but what you really need to be looking at is who's actually making progress, who's actually engaging with newer and newer businesses and putting out new content. And it seems like the Theta Labs team is an endless trough of continually reinventing themselves, but also engaging with newer and newer clientele, and also not only getting the meeting, but securing the deal. And I think that's what's really important here. So we have a lot of games that are happening within the crypto finance space, but even with those games that are occurring, we are still being a stronghold and provided a great opportunity to participate in the new chapter of the economy. If you go back and listen to some of the talks that me and Joe Stevens have done in the past, big shout out to him, is that we understand where this is all going. All mobile devices will become edge nodes, and by doing so, a new economy will form from here. So now we are laying down our tracks in the future of this new oil that is data, and making sure that we are securing our position going forward. It also does not surprise us either that recently we had the USD1 supposed DPEG, and now we are seeing the Jane Street news start to really come to light. So the question is, did Jane Street put pressure on some of the Trump assets, and now we're starting to see the fallout between the two in the public light. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the background, but in a lot of cases, the chop becomes your opportunity to actually succeed and proceed. Of course, again, none of this financial advice, but you need to understand that there is many bad actors in the space that still have to be washed out. And once they are washed out, there's a lot of possible productivity that can occur within the crypto space. So very excited to be on the journey with you all. Of course, none of this financial advice again, but we do have to look at our metrics that are outside of price, because those have a very strong value prop. And then, of course, we have to also trust in the team, knowing that there will be a value tie-in with the actual token itself, and continue to communicate with the team that we are needing and desiring that. And I also know that the team knows that the valuation of the token itself is a direct reflection on the success of the organization and the IP. So without this, the hybrid edge cloud does not function. So we do need there to be a flywheel moment where Tfuel is at a more profitable scale, so that we can have our proof of work Bitcoin moment. That's really what we are chasing after right now. We need to have a Tfuel price that is much higher to start the game of producing more and more edge nodes. And by having that, you then create that flywheel, and it's going to spin in perpetuity. All right, everyone. I hope you have found this video well. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. And as always, I will see you on Tfuel Island. Take care. Bye-bye.